So welcome, Governor, to France and to Paris and to Microsoft headquarters. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here today, as well as your delegation.
It's great to be with you here at Microsoft. I have a little bit of affiliation with our company back home, and we're having a great time. Our delegation has had 2 days at the air show, which have been very successful, and we'll have another day tomorrow, and then we'll move on to Hamburg, Germany.
So it sounds like, from a delegation standpoint, you're here in Europe for about 4 days, visiting 3 countries, and there's a large group of the delegation with you. Right. So can you kind of explain the purpose of the delegation, who's with you, and maybe some outcomes and desired results of your trip today?
We started in Madrid, Spain. There we looked at Dragados, who has done the deep bore tunneling around the perimeter of Madrid. They're our contractor to do the deep bore tunnel and remove the Alaska Way viaduct from our waterfront.
Yes.
So very important.
Yes.
And then from there, a couple of more meetings, but from there to here to the Paris Air Show. Another day here in Paris tomorrow, and then on to Hamburg, Germany. So with me, we've got our Port of Seattle. We've got a life sciences group. We've got an automotive group with us, obviously our aerospace industry. So we've got a diverse segment of our industries across the state, about 75 in total.
Wow.
Most of them aerospace. Contrast that with the last time I was here in '05, where we were trying to get suppliers to come to Washington State. Now we have the largest supply chain in the United States, about 650 companies. So we've got a booth at the U.S. Pavilion, and our aerospace companies, our suppliers, are doing their job here, as well as our great company, Boeing.
Oh, that's great. So you talk about the suppliers and the network, and one thing you can talk about maybe a little bit is about doing business in Washington. Some well-known facts that I'm sure you know. I think in Forbes it was #2 in doing business of all the states in the United States, and for startups I think it's in the top 5. And so why is Washington such a business-friendly state?
One other fact, if I might add.
Yes.
Largest number of patents of any in the country.
Okay.
And really what that is the result of is we have a tremendously innovative state. We have a culture of innovation in our state, highly educated, skilled workforce, and we have a quality of life that is appealing to any family. We value education, which all of our employers and employees agree with us on. And so when we ask, what do you like best about Washington State? It's our commitment to education, it's our innovative culture, it's our quality of life.
Okay, that's great. And being from Seattle, I can attest to many of those facts as well. Again, it is great to have you here. I guess what I could talk a little bit about is some things on France side that mirrors some of the activities and some of the programs that you have in Washington. I think there's some well-known facts, like #1 in tourism in the world, from an investment standpoint, a lot of foreign investment. 65 million people and very well located. But there's probably 2 facts that are quite interesting that I think are important for people to understand and may not know. One is around productivity. And it turns out that in France, France is #3 on productivity per hour for the workforce in the world, and #1 in Europe. And now you may say that's due to the 35-hour work week, which really doesn't exist, but it's really what I've seen here is not that at all. And so productivity is quite high. And the second one is really around the R&D tax credit. So there's a huge incentive for companies to set up their R&D actually here in Paris and in France. And the companies can enjoy up to 60% tax credit for kind of starting their R&D activities here in France. And so you've seen, I think in 2009, the state reimbursing companies €6 billion on this program. And so I guess in Washington, do you have similar type of programs as well to really drive business and to help businesses?
We do, and by the way, I can see why it's the #1 tourism attraction. I hope to get out and enjoy a little bit of it. It's just a treat for my delegation to be here in Paris, France, and to be a part of the air show. And the cooperation and all that we have received here has been second to none.
Great.
In Washington State, we have R&D tax credit as well.
Okay.
We have a manufacturing tax credit.
Okay.
In many sectors, aerospace in specific, we have a tax credit. Life sciences, we have a tax credit.
Wow, okay.
We're trying to grow our clusters. Obviously, high technology is
Right.
our cluster, aerospace. We also believe that we are one of the leaders now in the area of life sciences and global health, as well as us really seeing ourselves as a place where you can get a great cup of coffee.
That's
Washington
great.
State has very much in common with France, and which is why my delegation was so excited to be a part of the trade mission here.